overview of memory reconsolidation and how that relates to what I am offering you in terms of relief from the stress, worry, fear, anxiety, trauma that we're all facing in dealing with COVID-19. So I've got a slide deck prepared here, and I'm getting the hang of making myself tiny, and also of controlling the slide deck well. And so we're going to go ahead and get that up and running here. So, so here we have the presentation, and this is coronavirus stress, releasing fear in uncertain times, or how I learned to stop freaking the hell out and live my life. We are definitely moving into uncertain times, and there is much that we can do to take care of ourselves and keep ourselves well. And you've certainly seen things posted online and in the media around doing those things, limiting your time on social media, allowing yourself to feel stressed and anxious at times, make connections with people in new ways so you can share that stress, and then just do things to keep a routine and take care of yourself physically as well as mentally. So I'd like to tell you a little about myself. I'm Dave Ebaugh. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Oh gosh, I got my degree in 1990, and I've been doing trauma work and using accelerated resolution therapy now for about 3.5 years. And I have seen more than, I probably treated more than 500 people in more than 800 sessions. So it's been a very useful technique. And there's some very useful principles that this technique uses. EMDR also uses it. But I want to share and teach and make it possible for you to share and teach these really very simple method. One of the things that comes to mind to me when I'm thinking about, well, what am I offering that's different from what else that's out there? Like, how is this different from tapping? Well, so the idea is that this is not going to be something that you're going to have to do, periodically, like when you get a spike of anxiety, but it's more something that's going to reduce or eliminate that anxiety. So it's going to be something that's going to help with these list of stressors and more. And so you may be familiar with some of these yourself. There may be some new concerns if you are a frontline responder, a first responder, healthcare worker, or you're still having to go to work and deal with the public. You might be certainly worried about your own vulnerability to this thing. So these are very real worries that we are all facing. And now, of course, we're looking at using masks or protective covering when we go out, because there's more evidence that's showing that what has been going on in Asia with the use of masks does help. So we want to manage the worry here, and we want to be able to help people to feel generally better and generally less stressed, and take care, certainly, where you need to, but also be able to identify where you can let go of unnecessary or additional stress here. So an important thing to remember about fear is that our reaction to fear and to stress is based on our past. It's based on our past experience. And if you're at all curious about attachment and how our bond with our caregivers affects how we respond to stress, I would encourage you to look at the podcast Therapist Uncensored and to look at their podcasts on attachment. But certainly our early experience with our initial caregivers will shape how our body responds to uncertainty. How does uncertainty feel to you? What happened that makes it feel that way for you? What happened in your past? What happened in your upbringing that causes uncertainty to feel so distressing? And how do you want to feel? So instead of feeling overwhelmed and powerless, would you like to feel at ease and confident and optimistic? Well, so what I'm going to be showing you is going to help you to realize that. Feeling safe and protected. Look at that. Man, I'd love to be there. But, that bubble also makes me think of those bubble mobile cart thingies and Jurassic Park, which, okay, that's a different image. But let's go with this one. And again, keeping ourselves feeling safe and protected, of course, doing the things that are prudent to do, but also in general, just feeling safe and protected, feeling like you're taking care of yourself, not having to struggle over worries that are focused on things that you can't do anything about anyway. So feeling safe and protected. So how do we do that? Well, we do that through this process, which invokes a memory process called reconsolidation. So I'll have more on that in another video, but reconsolidation, memory reconsolidation, there's some videos on my Facebook page that go into reconsolidation and what that is. But basically what we're doing is that we're able, through this process, and it's a very structured process, to be able to erase old images of chaos and vulnerability. We're able to help you to manage the feelings that occur in your body when you start to have a threat response initiated. And then we're able to create a new positive image of yourself that you can use to help you feel more resilient, help you feel more confident, help you more easily let go of the concerns that you have that are keeping you up at night or creating worry for yourself. So this is a process where we are changing memory. We are erasing memory. We're erasing emotional memory. We're not erasing factual memory. You still will remember, yeah, that was scary, but it won't feel scary. So unlike what happens to Jim Carrey's character in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where winds up having profound regret at erasing memories of his girlfriend, you're going to be feeling wonderful relief at not having the stress responses, that same stress memory, fear memory come up when you encounter worrisome thoughts. So this has been demonstrated through several studies over the years, and I have also posted a segment from the NOVA program, Memory Hackers, which is very worthwhile to look up online. It's Memory Hackers, and it is posted on YouTube and at the PBS website. And in that presentation and on the video clip that you can watch here on the Trauma Focused Therapy page, you can see how memory reconsolidation was used to eliminate spider phobia. And it's very interesting to look at. Just briefly, the researcher, a very friendly and affable woman, takes a very cautious looking subject and has him stand in front of a terrarium with, well, pretty much that spider there in front of him. And so he is looking at that spider, and he is actually showing a lot of anxiousness and uncertainty, and he describes his palms are sweating, his fingertips are sweating, he's got nervousness in his gut, his breathing is very shallow. It's very obvious that this person is very uncomfortable. And then she very kindly invites him over, take a look, oh, come and look at him closer. What do you think would happen? And he's very cautious, and I don't know, it's poisonous, isn't it? At any rate, she gets that fear response activated pretty well. And then she takes him and puts him in a separate room and gives him a pill. And it's very difficult to get the FDA to approve use of drugs in research, but she is in Amsterdam, and, well, we know how they are in Amsterdam with drugs. At any rate, he takes his medication, then he comes back the next day and takes the pill. He took the pill the day before. He comes back the next day, no pill. And he's put in front of the spider, and suddenly, and very surprisingly, he does not have any kind of response. There's no reaction to the spider. It's somewhat confusing. Here's this reaction that I've always had my whole life. I didn't think it would ever change. And suddenly there's no reaction. He's able to go up to the spider. He's able to be very friendly with the spider, and he's somewhat confused over why he's not having that response. So we are able to duplicate this response, this process, through eye movements or through tapping. So we follow, again, the very similar protocol that was followed in this particular study. So what we do is we invoke a fear, and then we go ahead and desensitize you to that fear, essentially. And then we rescript or retell a different story about that fear. So the retelling of the story is really important. And so just as an example, and I'll have a link to this story online at some point, but this is a story on NPR called Editing Your Life Stories Can Create Happier Endings. And this was came out in about 2014. And so this story is featuring the nephew of the journalist, and he had a bad experience in a toy store where he unexpectedly ran into a 4-foot-tall Frankenstein monster at Halloween, and it was very alarming to him and very scary. And for weeks, he could not stop talking about that Frankenstein monster. And is he going to show up? What's he doing? Where is he? Do I have to watch out for him? And he tells the story over and over and over until one day, just spontaneously, he changes the ending of the story. And he says, I ran across this monster, and then I pooped and peed all over him, and then he ran away. And then that was the end of the story. So he was able to just spontaneously change that, and that fear of the Frankenstein disappeared. So I'm not suggesting that you poop and pee over your life because, well, we're all in the crapper right now. But I am suggesting that you can change how you feel about something by using the right kind of imagery and by focusing on physical sensations in your body and being able to manage those sensations. Imagery that we might use in feeling protected could be anything, ranging from imagining that these worrisome thoughts are like bullets in the Matrix, and Neo just holds up his hand and you're Neo, and those thoughts just stop right in front of you and just fall to the ground. Or you could imagine that you're Wonder Woman and you have this amazing sword that slashes Ares. You could see yourself behind a shield, or you could be a superhero. So you're using your imagination with vivid and meaningful imagery in order to re-script how you wind up responding to these worrisome thoughts and fears and that you have that show up periodically. You can also use your own experience in terms of the re-scripting. So where you feel uncertain and unsure, you can use imagery of where you are very sure and very comfortable. So for example, discarding unwanted thoughts. You might imagine that those unwanted thoughts are junk mail. You're sorting through your mail. No, that's junk, don't need that. That's junk, don't need that. And again, similarly, you treat your unwanted thoughts the same way. Nah, don't need that. Yeah, I know what that one's about, but I don't need it. And so like those Reader's Digest sweepstakes postcards, for those of you who are really too old to be watching this, but you are. At any rate, those Reader's Digest postcards, you could win. They keep coming. Or AOL, how about that? Those AOL CDs. Does anybody have those laying around anymore? I know many people do have and take pride in retaining their AOL email, and I do admire that. I do know that your own experience is what could possibly help you feel better as well, thinking about where you're in the zone, how you manage obstacles when they show up, when you are dealing with things that are in your wheelhouse. You're good at cooking, or you're good at gardening, or maybe you are good at calming small children. At any rate, that's an option to use. So again, with memory reconsolidation, it is important to understand the process and that it's very specific. And I will be adding some video content to my Facebook page that will explain this so you can share that with folks. So again, with memory reconsolidation, you are eliciting the stress or fear response by thinking about this stressful thing. This is how it goes when I get scared and anxious about coronavirus or about the economy or about work. This is how it goes. I'm running this through my head silently. I'm thinking about it. I'm getting myself worked up. That's what's supposed to happen. We're eliciting the fear response. Then once that has been elicited, and usually that can take about anywhere from a half minute to a minute or so, then you use eye movements or tapping to bring that down. And then again, you think about your situation or that worrisome thought, the trigger gets you worked up again. Again, use eye movements, calm yourself, bring yourself back down. You do this back and forth until that fear no longer elicits that response, that it's a very low stress response when you think about that fear. Then you go ahead and you go into using the positive imagery to re-script how you handle yourself in that situation. You re-script previous situations, and then you mentally rehearse future situations so that you can see yourself responding in the way that you would like without any physical response in your body. You're not feeling tension or tightness or unease. You're feeling more like, wow, this feels different. Wow, I think I could really do that. So that is the gist. So I do, when I go into a session, I talk a little bit about smooth pursuit eye movements, and maybe that's useful and maybe it's not. But when you are doing this on your own, you can use eye movements, and smooth pursuit is similar to what happens in REM sleep. The eyes are moving smoothly, like they're following a line, as opposed to saccadic, which is back and forth from one point to the next. So this kind of eye movement definitely does reduce emotional vividness of difficult memories, and it also aids in focus and creativity in using imagery to re-script your physical and emotional response to a trigger. So it's very helpful and very important. Alternatively, you can use butterfly tapping. Butterfly tapping is similar, and you're folding your arms over your chest and you're placing your fingertips on the soft tissue just below your clavicle, and you're tapping fairly firmly, and I'm trying to figure out a way to demonstrate audibly how that is. So maybe if I tap on my glasses. So that's something like that. So, and again, you're alternating left and right. So again, with the memory reconsolidation procedure, you are thinking of a stressor. You're eliciting the fear response while you're tapping or moving your eyes. You then again, once you get that stress level up, you use eye movements to bring yourself back down, again with tapping or eye movements. And when you've cycled through those first two sequences a number of times, and it could be 3, 4, 5 times, whatever it takes, and then you use alternate positive imagery to reimagine yourself handling this situation really very well. So let's see if there's anything else. Okay, here we go, a summary. 5 easy steps to stop fear. And this is an adaptation from Courtney Armstrong's work, and I have that posted on my Facebook page as well. So again, you're looking at bringing up the fear briefly with eye movements or tapping. You're exploring the physical sensations and the emotions. You're using tapping and positive imagery to create calm. You're doing this over a period of 10 to 15 minutes, and then you're rehearsing and rescripting your ideal response. So that's everything in a nutshell. And so what you can do is leave me a comment or a question below here. You can message me directly if you want individual sessions. And these sessions are very effective over the phone. I use a therapy called accelerated resolution therapy. As I mentioned, that is very effective and works really nicely. I have a animated target that that I use, and I'm able to control from my computer that helps to pace your eye movements. And I've been continuing to do individual ART sessions with new and existing clients, and it's working really well, which is very gratifying to me. So I'd like to get this information out, and I want to have people learn this. I'm offering a free Zoom group a couple times a week. I'm offering one for the general public. I'm offering one for first responders. And I am very happy to answer any of your questions. And I'm very happy that you sat through and watched this video. And I look forward to helping you out more in the future. Thank you again. And take care.